Surviving in the harshest conditions is not an easy task for people living in different parts of the world. Mongolian miners drink vodka before heading down into the shaft.
Yeah, they drink a little.
What, they work drunk?
Yes.
The people of Peru have settled high in the mountains, where oxygen is scarce.
Before tourism got developed here, he went to work at the gold mining.
In Oceania, an entire country is under threat of disappearing. It could end up submerged beneath the sea.
It is taking our lands bit by bit. It's taking our homes bit by bit. It is frightening.
In this video, I'll show you how people live and survive in some of the most remote places in the world. The least populated country in the world. I guess Genghis Khan was sitting on the throne there.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey.
Our cameraman practically slid straight to the center of the earth. What is this? They say the main cause of the city's bad ecology is yurts. Hello friends, welcome to Mongolia, a country of breathtaking steppes and the legacy of Genghis Khan. It's also a land of stark contrasts. Before we explore the capital, I'd like to take you to the grim reality that lies beyond its edges. "30 kilometers from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia's capital, lies the town of Nalaik. At the start of 20th century, the Chinese discovered coal here and started mining it. At first, the mine was privately owned, but after the Mongolian People's Revolution, it was nationalized and officially became the first enterprise of the new state. For a while, it was just a seasonal operation. But in the 1950s, with help from the Soviet big brothers, a full-scale modern coal mine was built. A settlement grew up around it, and by 1962 it was granted city status. Back in the day, the Nalaik mine was vital for Mongolia's economy. It supplied brown coal to Ulaanbaatar's thermal power plants, which still produce about 85% of the country's electricity. Then in 1990, a methane explosion killed 21 miners. Production was halted, and by 1995, the mine was shut down for good, right around the collapse of the Soviet Union. Naturally, that hit Mongolia's economy hard. There was no money left for underground mining. Around the same time, the Baganur open pit mine opened, and production shifted there. Now this place is abandoned. You can see everything's in ruins. This used to be the administrative building. It was beautiful once with columns. Now it looks more like a set from a war movie. The mine was shut down in the 90s after an accident. There's nothing left of it now. But all around here, you can find small illegal pits, where people still dig for coal on their own. How do they get down there?
On foot.
On foot?
You can't even squeeze through.
How? There's a slope, you could slide right in. It's about 150 meters down.
Yes.
They actually crawl 150 meters into that hole on foot?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They dig coal down there by hand and then haul it up with this thing and sell it? How much does that go for? How much do they make from it? A truckload of coal here sells for about $35. But once it reaches Ulaanbaatar, it's already worth $50.
Yes.
What's down there? Can you go down there?
There's methane down there, no air. It's very dangerous.
How do they even breathe?
They drink.
They have a little to drink.
Yeah, they drink a little.
What, they work drunk?
Yes, because they want to live.
So,
Alcohol helps.
It helps their body to cope.
so they drink vodka before going underground? Got it. What a nightmare.
The descent is dangerous.
It's about 150 meters down.
Not much air and full of methane.
I actually wanted to go down there myself, but they won't let me. They say you have to drink a glass of vodka first so you don't suffocate. But we don't have any vodka, and apparently without it, there's no entry. But I haven't lost hope. Maybe I can still talk them into it. For now, we're teaching the local miners how to film YouTube videos. Our cameraman slid straight to the center of the earth. How do you get down there? Like a slide? That's crazy.
Kidba, bergarata. Ah. Ah. Ah, юм шгүй урахата. Ингээд. Аа. Вот пизда. А.
Oh, thanks. Only a few people work there now. The only equipment they have are a couple of small Korean or Chinese trucks. Their tools are a shovel, a bucket, a mesh screen, and a winch. The shafts are dug completely at random, no control at all, which leads to collapses. By 2014, more than 180 people had died there, since the Nalek mine was shut down. Today, that number is over 200. Officially, about 15 people die each year, but locals say it's closer to 300 over the last 5 years. When the police show up, which happens now and then, the mine owners just pause operations for a few days. Licenses cost too much and bribes aren't worth it. It's cheaper to lay low, wait it out, then start digging again. What are those people doing up on the roof?
That's a smelting plant.
A smelting plant? You're kidding? And that yurt? Who lives there? It even has air conditioning. Fancy.
That's for the guards.
Guards? What are they guarding?
A brick factory. Those reddish buildings over there.
And how many people have died here overall? As in those private miners when the tunnels collapse?
About 365 people since 2014.
Oh, wow. So people die here every single year?
Yes.
Big boss here? How old are you?
Me?
Yes.
I'm 60.
60 years old? And you work here too?
Not here, no. I work over there.
And how much do you make a month?
500. 600.
Bye?
Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye. Hey.
Hello? Why do they live here?
Well,
They work here, right?
yes.
And that woman, her husband's a miner?
Yes, and she also keeps an eye on the shafts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is amazing. Do the kids go to school?
She's in kindergarten and he's in school.
So why aren't they in class today?
They're on break.
Do they live here year-round, including winter?
No, not permanently.
When it warms up, they move closer to the city.
And when it's warm, the mines stop working?
Yeah, they leave.
Because the ground gets too soft? Back when the USSR was funding Mongolia's industrial development, up to $1.5 billion a year in the 1980s, nearly half the country's GDP, many Mongolian families gave up their traditional nomadic life and moved into cities. But when industries like the Nalek mine collapsed, all those people were left with nothing. Now, many of those families survive by mining brown coal on their own. Technically illegal, though that word doesn't quite fit. In the past, the government used to hand out licenses to small companies. You can still buy one today, but it'll cost tens of thousands of dollars. So basically, the state doesn't care if people dig into the ground by hand, with no safety rules and no oversight, as long as you've paid for the license. Pay up and dig all you want. Going underground into a mine where there's barely anything to breathe is terrifying. But life at the very top isn't any easier. The people in high-altitude regions of Peru can attest to that.
I arrived at Pisco not for their booze. They have something more charming. I have to lift up into the air to see it. My friends, let me show you one of Peru's main landmarks, a place many UFOologists and psychic challenge fans dream of. I will fly above the famous Nazca geoglyphs. In the middle of the 20th century, a team of archaeologists discovered 30 mysterious figures depicting animals, insects, flowers, birds, and one human-like being in this desolate valley. The archaeological discovery is weird in many ways, and it attracts plenty of tourists craving to look at the famous lines. Who created the lines? For what purpose? What does the astronaut image mean? It's the only image resembling a human. Is it really an astronaut? Whoever the ancient Peruvians were, how could they apply the valley lines and images so precisely and clearly? The lines make up a whole image from a bird's eye view only. There are no mounts around. The ancient people were not supposed to fly. Some think the line's creators drew small drafts before forming the large version. The lines ended with wooden piles, made for coordination. They must have dug the line following the route. If they lost their way, they adjusted it, according to the prominent pile. But still, no one knows the purpose of the lines. Of course, many believe in their alien origin. You will certainly find a local guide who tells you some aliens created them, or they were made for aliens. There's no real reason to believe the lines have a kind of supernatural origin. Yes, the guys apparently wanted to draw large symbols here. It could be part of a religious ritual, but they hardly have ever seen the full result of their work. To see it fully, you have to rent a plane and enjoy the scene from a bird's eye view. That's what I'm about to do now. Let's go to Pisco Airport. There are no large planes here now. They may arrive here from time to time. There must be a reason for the huge airport. For now, I see small planes only. People rent them to look at the huge mysterious symbols in Nazca Desert. The flight has a big advantage. You see the guy back there? With all the things he's doing, he must be a famous Spanish blogger. He keeps using his camera, saying something for it. I guess I can simply film him, translate his speech later, and here's a video for me. In fact, I can simply take his flash drive, or steal it. The lines are often connected to astronomy and astrology. They either represent the constellations the ancient Nazca Valley residents have seen, or were used for fortune telling. Well, they are used for the local airport's income now. Peru has lots of wonderful places. I can't wait to show you. Let's go south and visit the mountains. There are several national parks next to the town. And besides marvelous views, we saw garbage piles again. We climbed that high not for the garbage. There's a salt lake, some 2-hour drive from Arequipa. If you go there on your own, be careful choosing your vehicle. It's 4,320 meters high. Arequipa has few landmarks. The main one is the Colca Canyon, with giant condors. The best time for the trip is sunrise, when they start flying up. There are also salt lakes. When I wanted to go there, I asked the hotel staff for a car. They told me to rent a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Other cars are useless there. I can't see the Salt Lake Road yet, but as for the road we're driving along, it goes up. We drove 1,000 meters up and are still going higher. At nearly 4,300 meters height, there are salt lakes. We are supposed to see flamingos, llamas, wonderful plants, and marvelous sights. The road here is unpaved, and no grader visited it lately. It's rather bumpy, especially on the curves. I was surprised to see shuttles and buses meeting us halfway, or half-dead taxi cars. I wonder how they are still runners, but the view is amazing, of course. It's incredible. The rarefied mountain air and exotic herbs, amazing. I can't wait to see the salt lakes. The sand is variously colored. I'd like to get in there. One more shuttle. It's just stunning. I can see the Salt Lakes over there. A white strap over there. The wonder we're arriving at. Just look at the road. It turned out that even a 4-wheel drive vehicle can't save you from trouble. Laguna de Salinas is a shallow salt lake. Its surface resembles a mirror. It looks like Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia. You may have seen the famous photos of people walking on the perfectly smooth surface or driving around in a car. Well, the experience showed us you can't do that in Peru. Salt lakes are not as nice as they may seem. We met this guy on our way. He told us they got stuck somewhere on the lake. Let's go help them. The guys, they were driving along and got stuck in the mud. How can we help them out? The guys are tying a rope to the car. They will try to rescue them. I'm not sure they can do that, but at least they'll try. Now we know it's not a good idea to drive around the lake. I have no idea how to rescue them. There's mud all around, and the car doesn't move an inch. It just keeps getting stuck. Well, our car got stuck too. I think we should move it back. Back and over there somehow. Those guys got stuck here, and so did our car. I didn't get stuck entirely. They went to fetch some sand and stones. Here's the plan. We'll try to fill the hole with sand and stones, and then we'll drive out of it, I hope. Just so you understand, the mud is super slippery here. You step on it and start sliding. Our rescue attempt ended with 2 cars stuck in the mud. That's a life lesson. Life taught us a lesson. It's not a good idea to drive along the Salt Lake if you can't do it properly. But those are locals who got stuck. I have no idea how they ended up getting stuck. We'll try to fill the hole with sand and drive out. My friends, if you get stuck in a salt lake and it seems like the game's over and there's no way out, if you're in despair, just take a bag full of sand and stones and ask your good friends to fill up the hole and you'll be fine. We finally got out, but the guys got hopelessly stuck, and we're taking them somewhere. They're in the truck bed. We're trying to find help for them. I won't set foot on a salt lake ever again. I'd like to thank those guys. If it were not for them, I would definitely try driving on the surface. I would see the wheel print there and try driving there myself. The salt lake looks stone hard and good for driving on, but no. In fact, it's secretly dangerous. A salt lake is a reservoir system with water inside. When it evaporates, salt crystals appear. Women in traditional clothes pick them up, just like the Incas did many centuries back. Their working conditions are horrid. There is not much oxygen in high altitude, and any movement is difficult. The strong wind lifts the salt up from the lake's surface. The temperature is close to 0 degrees Celsius. The altitude is 4,750 meters. That's how they mine salt here. It's a salt lake, divided into lanes. Here are roads for the trucks and motorcycles. They fill up the reservoirs with a special pipe system. Here, they dry up the pipes and pile the salt into a kind of pyramids. They are ready for transportation. They pack it into bags and take it to clean up. The local salt lake is amazing. The lake is lined with roads, a kind of causeways for trucks and motorcycles. People mine salt here. An interesting point is they have traditional clothes on. Hi, how are you doing? May I take a photo of you? You see, they're muffled up. If you don't cover your face here, it's rather windy and chilly, only 9 degrees Celsius. The salty dust is blown around. The wind turns it into salt whirls. I wonder what their skin turns into in such working conditions. The hard labor is balanced only by the splendid sights. Those mountains and volcanoes, especially in the sunset, when they are brightly colored, they are just stunning. Let's see how people live here. We arrived at a village to have a look at common houses. Here's the owner. Check out her nice hat and clothes and her skirt. It's not for the tourists. It's the clothes they prefer.
Well, something quite interesting. He's saying that tourism is very nice because it makes possibility for people here, some opportunities. Before tourism got developed here, he went to work at the gold mining in the jungle of Peru, Maldonado.
Nearly 400 people live in the village. Before the tourists came, many of them had hard and low-paid jobs. Jose, the head of the family, worked in a jungle gold mine. His wife worked on a potato farm. For now, they earn around $500 per month with Rainbow Mountain tourists. How do people earn money here? They work on the hill. They grow vegetables and sometimes sell them. They carry the vegetables on blankets. Their kids help them. How do you spend the money you earn with the trade? I need the money to pay for my kids' study. My eldest entered the university. The other two are currently at school. What's he studying at the university? He'll be an agricultural engineer. My second son's studying cosmetology. The youngest one's at school, at secondary school.
How many people live in this village? 400.
Here's the kitchen. That's how they cook a meal. It's a kind of... it's beans. Beans and corn. Ah, here's pasta.
So you can see to save things. They have things, fruits. They buy also with the money. But anyway, it's important for the body. So vegetables, and also some powder, other kinds. Of course, from the market, beef sometimes, but it's not their main diet.
Why? It's expensive for them?
The number one, it's expensive, but also since older times they used to eat semi-vegetarian food, organic potatoes, vegetables. But always they have meat also, but meat's considered special. So when they have birthday celebrations.
How often do they eat meat?
How often do you eat meat? Every day? Once a week, sometimes twice a week.
This is a kitchen.
It is the kitchen, yes, where they make the food, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Where do they have food?
They go to the market, but also some people, they bring here in the little vans, they sell. It's like the running market, they call it. So they buy their local products. They bring also rice, meat, chicken, but also they have local chicken here. They farm chicken, and they have guinea pigs as well in the house.
They have chicken, but they bought eggs.
They buy, yes, because it's not enough, As I tell, it's special. They buy when the chicken's so baby. They take them like 3-4 months. Then, when they think it's special day, so they kill. They have chicken soup is a very delicious food, they consider, and they eat always. They have smaller doorways because at this elevation it's cold. So if you want warm room, so you need to make small doorway. That's why they have always.
As it's cold here, they make low doorways because it's hard to keep the house warm. That's the master bedroom. A rope with hanging clothes serves as a wardrobe. Here's a table and a bed. Here's a lamp. May I turn it on? Okay, here's light.
Well, look at this one. When they have to work in buildings, so they have tools also. So also you can see Punya Nawasi, bedroom. Yes, that's for me, bedroom.
That's the second bedroom.
Something important, we surprised them, so they were not expecting any visitors. So otherwise, they would even fix up better. But we wanted to see the real, natural.
I'm performing a very dangerous move. I'm crawling down the ladder. That's how the house looks like. A tiny and tidy kitchen, a toilet the local mayor built for them, and that's the house, with bedrooms and everything.
Something I realized here is how they plan the life, Look at, they painted here the present, how the village right now, and they expect it's going to grow out. And in the future, it will become like that, with more comfortable homes, like school and things like that, with much better order. So, which surprised me, And also they painted the environment, some birds that exist locally here, the plants that you can find also in this typical villages. They take care of it.
Here they store the hay.
So when it snows, so they have to have a reserve of food for the animals.
Quechua people suffered severely during the War on Terror in the 1980s, with armed radical squads attacking their villages. During the presidential term of Alberto Fujimori, many Quechua women were forcefully sterilized. Up in the mountains, some communities saved their traditions and lifestyle. That's what attracts the tourists.
There's a program called Hakuwiñay, which is going to help them to improve even the living. So they can even have plants. They are going to make, easier for the locals. So they are teaching them even how to properly manage the food, how to balance also, their diet, all these things, which is good. She's saying in the past, the homes was even worse, but now they have more order. But in the future, they expect to improve everything in education, in terms of food, but also they say, if the tourists will still come, so they know they will have more opportunities. The children are, getting educated, which is going to be also returning here with better knowledge, with better health. So they are on the good way. So they expect for everybody the same.
Okay, for example, if they get $100,000, how do they spend this money?
What would you do if you had 100,000 souls? I would build a better house to serve the tourists better.
And what's the total month's income for this family?
How much do you earn in a month? 1,500 a month. We pay for the kids' study.
So all this money is spent right now in the children, in the school. So they don't have any more, a lot of more money for them. That's what they say.
And can you tell us about this dress? This hat, it's...
Montera. It's made with sheep wool. Locally made. So this one is actually sun hat.
It's protect for...
It's protect for the sun.
How many layers?
It's only 2 this time.
Two layers.
2 layers. It's not too cold, but when it's colder, they add more. Yeah, she's like, regular outfit when she's in home. When she goes out, she has nice clothes. As you can see, newer, the balcony.
Those are her festive skirts drying over there. She puts them on when she goes out. She has some home clothes on now. You may think she put on her smartest clothes waiting for us, but they were not expecting us. We were driving by, and that was the first inhabited house we saw. Most villages are empty now. The locals work with tourists and climb up the mountains to feed and entertain them. The villages are almost empty in the daytime. We found the house and burst in without warning. Our guide walked in first and asked for permission. They allowed us to film the house. But mind it, that's how they dress. That's how they live. They were not ready for us. They didn't dress up to please us.
It might seem that life on a tropical island in the middle of the ocean should be far easier and more carefree. But for the people of the Tuvalu archipelago, the sea itself poses the greatest threat. So friends, I'm standing right on the runway of Tuvalu's only airport. Yes, Funafuti Airport is the one and only in Tuvalu. It sits on the atoll of the same name, which also happens to be the capital. There's just a single runway stretching 1.5 kilometers, about 1/7 of the island's length. Big enough for small planes, but that's it. The only direct flights come from Fiji. But there are just a few flights each week, which means very few tourists, only a couple thousand a year. The airport itself couldn't be simpler, a small terminal where you check in and wait for your flight. No loudspeakers, no chaos, no lounges, nothing fancy. It all feels very homey, and the most homey thing of all is the runway itself. Because really, it's like one giant town square. As I mentioned, planes land here only a few times a week. They come in from Fiji, stay about an hour to drop off and pick up passengers, and then they're gone. The rest of the time, people use the runway for motorcycles, kids play football, run around, draw on the pavement, or just stroll. It's more like a public square than an international runway. When a plane does arrive, they block it off for safety. But otherwise, no fences, no barbed wire, no guards. And yet, this is still an international airport, with customs, border control, and everything else. Quite a unique place. I came back here in the evening to double check, and sure enough, the place was buzzing with life almost 24/7. In the evenings, the runway turns into a giant square. Kids and teenagers play, people relax, sunbathe, gather, chat, because this is the only big, flat, clean space in the whole country.
Hi. How are you? Good.
That's the main thing. Wow, things are lively here, a football match. And we, friends, are right in the middle of it. What amazing kids. If you look all the way to the horizon, the runway's packed with people walking and hanging out. I almost got pulled into the game myself. It's funny, the runway has become the country's main place for community. People meet here, play, talk. This is where rare tourists arrive. This is where locals come and go. Everything happens right here because honestly, there's nowhere else big enough for everyone to gather. And they're all so positive. They're not sad about living in Tuvalu. They're not sad that one day it may disappear under the water. Amazing kids. Tuvalu also has a prison, and judging by the map, this should be it. Let's check. No guards, nobody around, just a parked motorcycle. Okay, someone's coming. Hi. Is it the prison?
Yeah, this is the prison.
Ah, okay, we just want to have a look.
No.
Ah, okay. All right, the guard came out and said, "This is a prison! Where do you think you've come to? Entry is forbidden." But honestly, the place isn't guarded at all. There's even a pig wandering around inside the gates. Now the guard is heading over, looks like to shut the gate, which was wide open. Yep, he closed it, so no one enters. His shirt even says police. He didn't lock the gate though. The prison itself is just a one-story barrack. Those small windows on the side are probably the cells. Escaping from here would actually be quite easy. The only problem is, where would you run? The island is tiny, everyone knows each other, and there's really nowhere to hide. Maybe you could slip onto a ship and try to make it to another country, but that would be a pretty tough plan. So this is what Tuvalu's only prison looks like, probably the least secure prison in the world. No barbed wire, nothing. Just one policeman napping under a canopy, and that's it. I wonder how many inmates there are right now. There are some rusty abandoned cars nearby. And oh, someone's driving out. Hi.
Want to visit the prison?
Can we?
But you must be arrange your permission to come inside for.
Okay. You work here?
Yeah, but I'm on midnight shift. Do you know the police officer?
Yeah.
Police station, sorry?
Yeah.
You must go there.
Okay. Okay. How many prisoners inside?
Only two.
Two? What happened there? What crime?
Domestic violence, like being drunk but it's okay. Another one is fighting.
Fighting.
Yeah. If you want to come inside, then just ask permission.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So yes, you can see the prison here if you really want to, but you'll need to head back to the station and get permission. It's funny, the guys asked. Why do you want to see the prison? What are you going to do there? Take pictures? They said they'd find out whether a visit was possible. Because here, the prison is one of the few local attractions. There are no museums, no theaters, nothing like that. So some tourists actually come to see the prison. Aside from that, there are 4 cells right in the police station. Here they are, the bars. The police station itself has definitely seen better days. The counter's been gnawed by mice. And the doors are propped open with a rock. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get permission. The bureaucratic machine in Tuvalu, as almost everywhere, doesn't work on weekends, but I was allowed to take a look at something else instead. So here's the local detention center. Sometimes there are wooden bunks, but what you notice most are the scribbled messages to the police. People actually sat here and drew right on the walls. All the cells are covered in writing. The toilet, judging by the smell, is somewhere in the corner. And that's it. So what can I say? You don't want to end up here? The conditions aren't just Spartan, it's basically a concrete box. If you're lucky, there's a wooden bunk. If not, then nothing. All you can do is scratch your messages into the walls with a nail for future inmates to read. So this is what summer houses in Tuvalu look like. But behind all this chill, all this seeming introvert's paradise, lies a looming ecological disaster.
It is taking our lands bit by bit. It's taking our homes bit by bit. It is frightening.
Tuvalu is one of the lowest lying countries on Earth. The highest points here are only about 4.5 meters above sea level. Because of global warming and the melting of polar ice, sea levels are slowly rising about 3.6 millimeters per year. For tiny island nations like Tuvalu, that's a very real problem. The rising water brings frequent flooding, salinizes the soil, and reduces the already limited supply of fresh water. Saltwater ruins crops, damages infrastructure, and is already making life difficult for locals. If nothing changes, in 50 years, Tuvalu could simply disappear beneath the sea. The land, the economic zone, even national sovereignty would be lost. The government of Tuvalu speaks about this danger constantly at international forums, calling on the world to fight climate change. It was right here in 2021 that Minister Simon Kofe delivered his viral address. Standing knee-deep in water, he urged participants of the climate conference to pay attention to Tuvalu and their plight.
We cannot wait for speeches when the sea is rising around us all the time. Climate mobility must come to the forefront. We must take bold, alternative action today to secure tomorrow.
Here people are trying to adapt and somehow postpone the looming end. In terms of outside help, the islands of Tuvalu have signed climate agreements, including the Paris Agreement, and received support from various countries and organizations, for example, through the Green Climate Fund and the UN Development Program. That money goes into building dams and breakwaters, as well as improving water supply systems. I met Simon in Funafuti. He's now the Minister of Transport, Energy, Communications, and Innovation. Quite a multi-role official. And yet, he's still pushing just as hard to keep Tuvalu on the world map.
Many people already know that the climate is changing. And Tuvalu is suffering from rising sea levels. We are a low-lying island. You've seen for yourself how small and narrow the island is in places. Rising waters threaten us, and every year during high tides, parts of the island are flooded. It gets worse with each passing year. Scientists say islands like Tuvalu may be the first to disappear beneath the sea. The solution can only be global. Countries must reduce greenhouse gas emissions because they're heating the planet. But we also need to play our part. We're building dams and reclaiming land. If you have the chance, you'll see the reclamation work now underway. But we must keep contributing while also urging other countries on the world stage to take more meaningful action.
So far, Australia has been the biggest supporter. In Tuvalu 24, it committed 110 million Australian dollars to various Tuvaluan projects. It also promised to provide refuge for Tuvalu citizens if they ever decide to leave their homeland. But is there a plan B for Tuvalu?
First of all, we will not stop talking about this on the world stage. We will keep raising the issue. It is our moral duty. We want to be certain that we have done everything possible to draw attention to a crisis that will affect everyone. Many still think this is only Tuvalu's problem, but the signs are already clear: fires, floods, extreme weather. These impacts are spreading everywhere. It is only a matter of time. We will continue to raise our voice on the international stage, and we will do everything within our power here at home to prepare for the worst-case scenario.
This is how ordinary people live in Mongolia, Peru, and Tuvalu, in very distant countries where nature and climate create extreme conditions. And yet, life goes on even there. People can adapt to everything. They work hard, honor their traditions, and don't want to leave because this is the place where they were born and raised. Tell me in the comments about the most extreme conditions you've ever experienced. And which remote corners of our planet you dream of visiting one day. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.